home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Thank God I'm upstairs!
Sixers.
Bang! It's good! Ball game!
And Flyers.
Just in front of the net!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
And neither do we. We're reporting the news because Sham's great. He's the best in the business. Wendy told you what he told you, and basically what he said was lose so you can hold on to your lottery pick, that top 6 protected pick.
That was Stephen A. Smith this morning on NBA Countdown. The fiasco at the 76ers has reached a new fever pitch, and I guess this is like the penance, I guess you could say, for Philadelphia sports fans. You won a Super Bowl, the second championship in Eagles history in the last 10 years. And the Sixers continue down the abyss. We'll get into the latest drama with the 76ers. Plus, I want to get into also some interesting Phillies news and some context on the Philadelphia 76ers that we got to get to. The Philadelphia Phillies as well, because right now Eagles season is kind of like in cruise control, right? We're waiting on the combine this week. The Eagles still have some decisions to make when it comes to the roster this offseason. Probably some of the decisions will not be made until next week. It's this week when a lot of the conversations happen at the combine, and we'll get into all that a little bit later this week. But as always, I want to hear from you guys. 609-403-0973. 76ers. The drama continues. Also, your DMs on the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Just you and me today, because there's a lot to get into from this weekend. And look, I have refrained from a lot of the Sixers talk because there's been more happier and better stuff to talk about. But this Sixers situation has gotten completely and utterly out of control, off the rails, and realistically, we're at the point where the only value of the 76ers is Tom McGinnis weaving in random stories and anecdotes during games when you hear the Sixers tonight on 97.3 ESPN when they take on those Chicago Bulls. And again, it will be no Joel Embiid again. Now, the news came out today, but here's what Shams Charania said yesterday on NBA Countdown. This was his report yesterday.
The 76ers and Joel Embiid are now consulting with doctors and considering options such as surgery on his left knee. I'm told that Embiid is scheduled to have test imaging done on his knee early this week. And at that point, both sides will collaborate with specialists on the best path forward. Embiid has done multiple treatment solutions, options that he's tried throughout the season. His knee just has not been right. That's included regular and frequent shots in that knee. Just has not yielded any improvement.
And now the latest information from Shams. About 2 hours ago, he reported Joel Embiid has been rolled out for tonight's game against Chicago Bulls as the 76ers consult with doctors and collaborate with specialists after he completed new imaging today. Sources tell ESPN. And, of course, Nick Nurse, Sixers head coach, confirmed that they're kind of in a holding pattern with Embiid right now. And it's amazing that it's taken to February 24th for this organization to get their head out of the sand. This organization has spent months kicking the can down the lane. This player has not gotten better at one point. And as Stephen A. Smith said this weekend, everyone but the Sixers knew that it was over. Everyone knew that this season was cooked, except for the people who were in the Sixers building.
You got the perfect excuse because Paul George He's injured. He's not been healthy all year, even though he's been on the court sometimes. Joel Embiid, when did he look good this year? When was he moving well this year? It has not been the case. They are done. This season is over. The city knows it. There's no brotherly love for the Sixers.
Oh, but wait, there's more, because today on ESPN's First Take, Tim Legler said something that I have heard only a handful of people bring up. And it's the idea that something that me and Mike Gill have talked about here on 97.3 ESPN multiple times, right? Also, you can listen to the show on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Also live on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig, wherever you're catching the show. Thank you for tuning in here to Game Night on 97.3. It's the idea that we have brought up numerous times of optics, the visual. It doesn't matter what someone says. Actions speak louder than words, is the old saying. The visual, the optics, the actions show us something completely different than what we're being told, as Tim Legler said this morning on ESPN's First Take.
Joel Embiid, by his own admission, is saying this won't be right until I get this actually addressed. And you know what that means? That means surgery. So if that's what it's going to take, do it now. What's the point of running him out there every night, looking the way he looks? He can't move at all defensively. He becomes a perimeter player offensively on those nights when he's feeling that swelling and stiffness in his knee. And he basically can't move. And you're forcing people to try to watch it.
And you're forcing people to watch it. I love that part at the end, because it's the idea that you are telling your fans, you are, for lack of a better term, insulting your fans by constantly putting out there injured players and a bad product. Now, look, I know the Sixers never anticipated that Joel Embiid would have this many problems this year, or Paul George would be this banged up, or even that Tyrese Maxey would be banged up. I totally understand that you did not foresee this, because nobody did. Sure, there were people like myself who were against signing Paul George, mostly because of the fact that we looked at Paul George and we were like, yeah, we're not impressed, right? You know, there were a lot of us who looked at Paul George and said, you really want to invest that much money in a guy with an injury history? But we were given all these reasons why it would work, why it can work, why it should work. And I thought the most damning statement over the weekend was from an NBA legend. Dr. J, the great Julius Erving, one of the most genuine and good human beings I have ever met or been around in my life. If he criticizes you, you're doing something wrong. Dr. J, the one and only Julius Erving, this weekend on Sirius XM NBA Radio, said this.
I mean, Tyrese is the most consistent factor there, and I love watching him play and the effort that he puts forth. Even if he's hurting a little bit, he's still putting forth the effort. He's looking like playing half the games and maybe going to a third before going to two-thirds. And Paul George, great talent. And, you know, I don't know. Once again, you're not getting it every night. And like I played in the era when guys gave it every night.
You're not getting it every night. And I think that is the biggest problem. It's easy for people to say that it's easy for people to say Embiid's trying his best, Embiid is trying hard, Embiid's doing the work, doing the steps, blah, blah, blah. But what's not easy is telling the people who are watching the games, the people who are observing, that our two eyes are lying to us. It's the conversation that I run into with many of you sports fans anywhere I go, right? Anytime I'm ever out at an event, at, you know, the local establishment, breweries, distilleries, wherever I run into you guys, people at the store, people at the gym, one of the most common thread conversations I have had during my 9 years here at 97.3 ESPN. Josh Innick hanging out with you in the Ocean Casino Resort Atlantic City studio. One of the great common thread conversations we always have is many of you will talk to me about how can I, whoever you are, whatever sports fan you are, look at the game and we all see the same thing. The people who are watching the game, people who are at the game, people who are reporting on the game, people who are analyzing the game, everyone can see it, but the organization can't. The coaches can't. The players can't. And it is the greatest embarrassment for anyone, for a player like a legend, Julius Erving, to say, hey, man, I see Maxey giving it. I don't see it from Embiid. I don't see it from Paul George. And he says, back in my day, we brought it every night. That is the greatest damning statement of the 76ers, is a man with such gentleman professionalism as Dr. J, one of the great competitors in Sixers history, to basically tell the Sixers organization, only one of your 3 stars is given it. More from Julius Erving this weekend on Sirius XM NBA Radio.
And he just got a new contract. So you always say it's not a guy's fault if his body is betraying him. But that's an excuse. And when you're running an organization and you're trying to chase win championships and, you're trying to be the leader and inspire the other players, then you have to find a way.
When it comes from Dr. J, it sounds a little different. It's one thing if I say it, Mike Gill says it, Stephen A. Smith says it, Tim Legler says it, Jeff in Ocean City says it, right? George in Summers Point, Scott in Vineland. If we're all saying it, it's one thing. When the legend, Julius Erving, says it, you got a problem. The 76ers have been selling us for Gazy for too long. We found out that somewhere along the way, there were mistruths communicated about Joel and his knee. And the organization has mishandled it. They have tried to play misdirection. They have tried to manipulate narratives. But at the end of the day, you have an entire fan base who literally is only showing up because the tickets are cheap, not because they actually care about the game on the court. If the tickets were not being discounted as aggressively as they are, half the Sixer fans who show up to these games wouldn't be there. Sometimes you just want to be entertained. And guess what? If you're going to a Sixers game now, you're not going for the Sixers. You're going to see the other team. And finally, we have to bring up the other side of the conversation. The idea that it's time to shut down these players. And the problem with that conversation is, how much faith do we have in this Sixers organization to not botch this? Right now, if the season ended today, the 76ers have the 6th worst record in the NBA. Now, what's relevant about that is, in order for you to keep your draft pick, you must be in the top 6. It is a top 6 protected pick. If that pick does not fall in the top 6, you lose that first round draft pick to Oklahoma City from the Al Horford trade when you got OKC to absorb Al Horford's abomination contract. The problem is that in today's NBA, being the 6th worst record is no guarantee that you get the 6th pick. Remember, the NBA draft is a lottery. It is not a literal, like the NFL, situation. If you go by the analytics, the 76ers right now have a 37% chance at a top 4 draft pick. Remember, the top 4 worst teams get the best odds, basically even odds, at getting the number 1 pick. Then you have everyone after that gets lesser valued odds at getting the first overall pick. And the problem is that just because you are 20-36 does not mean you might get the 6th pick. You got to lose a lot more games. And the problem for you is that right now, you're not going to be the worst because, well, Washington has only 9 wins on the year. Okay. New Orleans is 14-43. Utah is 14-42. Charlotte is 14-41. And the Raptors are 18-39. The only one of those teams that is likely to win any significant number of games the rest of the year are the Raptors, because I'm sure at some point the Raptors want to get Brandon Ingram on the court and start getting him acclimated with his teammates. Aside from that, Charlotte's just not good, okay? Utah, they are a team that's a year away from being a year away. And the New Orleans Pelicans have had so many injuries this year, I don't even think they know who's playing half the time. Their injuries are almost worse than the 76ers. And as I said, Washington doesn't have 10 wins on the year yet, so I don't expect anything from them. So if you're Philadelphia, you don't just have to tank the rest of the year. You need somebody up there to start winning games. And as of right now, the only team that I can see you outpacing, I mean, yes, you've lost 7 in a row, but you've gone 1-9 your last 10. If you do that the rest of the year, right, you've played 56 games. That means you still have 26 games to go. Project it out, Sixer fans. Think about it for a minute. You are 20-36. You have 26 games left. If in those 26 games, I'm sorry on number, you go 6-20. Again, throwing out a record. You still need somebody to win more than 6 games down the stretch. You need a team like the Raptors to win 10 of their final games. You need the Hornets to win 12 of their final games, or the Jazz, or the Pelicans. This organization waited so long to pull the plug on this disaster of a season that the odds of them keeping their top 6 pick has become much, much more difficult. And that's why I told you guys weeks ago here on 97.3 ESPN. That was when I said you should start bailing. That's when I said you should start planning for the future. But when the Sixers team won 5 games in a row, some of you Sixer fans jumped on the bandwagon. You bought into the lie. You bought into the mirage. You got snookered. You got ripped off. And now everyone is going to suffer for it because it's taken them this long to make a clear decision. Scott from Vineland, George in Summers Point, Jeff in Ocean City. All of your messages coming up next. Josh Hennig, hanging out with you. 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Powered by First Bank of Seattle City.
Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Joel Embiid's deal is one of the worst contracts, if not the worst contract in all of sports. And the frustrating part about how they're handling the entire situation is that the Sixers are clearly a championship or bust squad, and they're nowhere close to competing for a title. So I don't understand to what end they're managing Joel Embiid's injury. I think they should shut him down.
Wake up weekday mornings with Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman on 97.3 ESPN.
Rise and shine, Valentine. All month long, you be the commander-in-chief. The savings are presidential. You just sign and drive at Matt Blatt Mitsubishi with 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, or 0% for 60 months on all remaining 24 Outlander Sports in stock. But they won't last. Get yours before they're gone. Brand new Outlander PHEV, 0 security deposits, and just $3.99 per month lease. Yep, just sign and drive it home. Maybe you're a first-time buyer, or you've been turned down for a loan. Matt Blatt Mitsubishi wants to finance your future, not your past. Bring in any trade, even if you're stuck in a current loan or lease. AJ the Trade Man wants to get you released and into a brand new 24 Outlander SUV, $29.99 with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days.
Simply, Matt Mitsubishi.
Qualifications exist with approved credit. 1666 for 1,000 finance on in-stock 2024 Outlander Sports. Not all will qualify. Go to mattblattmitsubishi.com for complete details or call 844-946-2315. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Expires 3/4/25. Matt Blatt Mitsubishi in the heart of Glassboro for 30 years.
The holidays are coming, and Lowe's is here to help you get ready. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an additional $75 on select cooking appliances, $899 or more. And get even more of an interior refresh with up to 40% off select vanities and free delivery. Because Lowe's knows holiday hosting. Valid through 10/16. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you bought that TV in a parking lot. It just happened to not come in a box or include a remote. And when you finally managed to turn it on, all it displayed was the menu of Grumpy's Tacos. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data, available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you. All of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping with friends.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be-in-the-room-with-real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. ¿Vos está pronto?
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Did you know 1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced? O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery needs to be replaced, their professional parts people can help you find the best Superstart battery for your vehicle and budget. Make sure your vehicle is ready for the weather ahead by getting your battery tested for free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NBA, the Sixers are consulting with doctors considering options on Joel Embiid's knee injury. Embiid was benched in the fourth quarter in Saturday's loss to Brooklyn, where they fell to the Nets on a buzzer-beating tip-in. Philadelphia back in action tonight, hosting the Chicago Bulls and looking to stop a 7-game losing skid facing a Chicago team that's dropped 6 in a row. NHL, the Flyers are on the ice Tuesday at home against the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's a home and home. The two teams will play in Pittsburgh on Thursday. Philadelphia began the second half of the season Saturday, beating Edmonton 6-3, getting 2 goals from Owen Tippett. Major League Baseball, the Phillies lost Sunday in Grapefruit League play to Baltimore 7-3 down at Florida. They'll play Pittsburgh this afternoon in Clearwater. Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zero. Soaring into the 50s for the next 3 days, the warmest stretch of 2025 so far, I'm happy to say. Tonight, we probably stay above freezing with a low around 40, becoming mostly cloudy. Lots of clouds tomorrow and a slight chance of an early evening rain shower, but definitely not an all-day thing. High of 56. Sun and clouds Wednesday, high 52. Better chance of rain on Thursday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
All hands on deck for the Captain's Table VIP reception, hosted by the Community Food Bank of New Jersey and Let Us Eat Please at the Discovery Boating Atlantic City Boat Show. Thursday, February 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Atlantic City Convention Center. Funds raised will help feed the 1 in 6 food insecure children in our communities. Enjoy tastings from 20 of the area's most acclaimed restaurants, distilleries, and breweries, along with desserts. Plus, boat show entry that day. For tickets and more, call 609-380-3671 or visit cfbnj.org.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
He's had back, he's had stomach, he's had this issue. And it's just like a car. Stephen A., guys, you know this. If you have a flat tire, you can continue to drive on it, but guess what? It's just not going to mess up that side. Everything is going to go bad, and that's what Joel Embiid is doing because he's going to hurt other things. You watch. If you don't sit it down, he's going to start having back issues again. The other side is going to have to compensate, and he's going to hurt that.
I always love a good car analogy. Good job by the Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp there this morning on ESPN's First Take. Josh Hennig back here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios of Atlantic City, hanging out with you. Text board just a moment, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And again, I go back to how can the whole world see something? Like, we live in a divisive world, right? We live in a world where people are ultra divided. Politics, religion, all kinds of stuff, right? Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, like all kinds of stuff people are on different sides on. And yet everyone agrees on this. It's like everyone can come together and unite under the banner of the Sixers are a mess and Joel Embiid shouldn't play. How is that possible? The Sixers are the only one who don't see it. It's amazing to me. It's amazing. Let's get to your text right now at the text board. 609-403-0973. Scott from Vineland. Scott chimes in and says, get rid of Embiid. He won't play a full season. Furthermore, he's always hurt during the playoffs. That's from Scott in Vineland. Well, Scott, 2 problems. One, getting rid of Embiid is easier said than done. You just signed into a contract extension that makes trading him cost prohibitive. Trading Embiid right now is going to require you giving up more than you get for him. For 2 reasons. One, because you just said it. He's never healthy. He's always injured. So now, how are you convincing another team to take on a contract that you don't want, they don't want, nobody wants? Next season is the first year of his new contract extension. Next year, he will make $59.5 million. The year after that, it's $64 million. The third year, which is a player option year, is $69 million. What team wants to take on, Scott and Violin, as you put it, a guy who won't play a full season and is always hurt in the playoffs? So how do you get rid of a guy that nobody else wants to pay for? Number one. Number 2, what makes you think anybody wants Embiid? See, we live in a society where we forget that relationships, transactions, these are all two-way streets. We have been so deluded, and nothing against Scott and Byron. I'm sure he's a fine individual. But we have all been suckered by the modern age of media. We have become desensitized and brainwashed by social media. And here's how. We forget that everything in life has to take two. It takes two people to make a relationship work. Friendship, dating, marriage, whatever. It takes two for a transaction. Both sides have to agree for a trade or an exchange of goods to happen. You can't go to the store and say, I want that, but for another price. The store's going to say, tough luck, find it somewhere else. Come back when you're ready to actually buy the product. You can't just hit like on that pretty girl's Instagram all the time and just expect her to notice you just because you're hitting that like button as hard as possible. You know, dating has become the most dehumanizing experience in the world. Yeah, you swipe left, you swipe right, you hit a heart, you put a picture on there, you write a little profile bio, and maybe your picture and your swiping appeals to someone, you might get attention. But there's no two-way street going on there. It's one person putting in all the work, and the other person may or may not acknowledge your existence. So the problem is you may want to get rid of Embiid, Scott from Vineland, but who's taking him? Who wants him? Who is going to take on that money? What do you have to give up to convince someone to take on that contract? Let's say you get the 5th overall pick in the draft. Let's say you tank the rest of this year. You go 6-20 down the stretch. You go into the offseason. You have a team that calls you. I'll take Embiid's contract, but I also want the 5th overall pick. You willing to do that? You willing to make that happen? Is that something you are willing to do? If you run a draft simulator, right, you use those analytics, right? And let's say the Sixers, who have a 37% chance to get into the top 4 of the draft. Let's say the Sixers get the 3rd overall pick. And I'm just going to scroll down on this simulator, right? I'm just scrolling, okay? I'm not projecting, I'm not reporting, I'm not nothing, okay? None of that. Just, I'm scrolling. I'm looking. You're looking through the draft, and you're like, hey, we got the 3rd overall pick, great. And you get a team that calls you. They say, can we talk about Embiid? And you're like, sure, we talk about Embiid. Yeah. What can you give me for Embiid? And the team says, no. I'm not giving you something. You're giving me something. And you're like, what? And let's say it's Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City was supposed to get your pick anyway. It ended up in the top 6. They don't get it now. Oklahoma City turns around and says, well, we can give you another 1st-round pick. And you're like, what one? Well, maybe it's the 15th overall pick. You give us Embiid in the 3rd pick. We'll give you the 15th overall pick and maybe a conditional pick down the road. That's the only way you're getting rid of Embiid. You're going to give up to get some. And what kind of beautiful irony would it be that OKC soaks you twice for draft picks to get rid of bad contracts? Jeff from Ocean City chiming in on the DMs over on the YouTube channel at Josh Hennig, says, I think the Sixers are in the 6th spot now. Keep losing and hold on to the pick. Again, Jeff, it's the idea that you got to do more than lose. You need the other teams ahead of you to win. And as of right now, the only team ahead of you that's going to have a chance to maybe win any significant game down the stretch is the Toronto Raptors. Because, again, if you're the Sixers, let's say you go 6-20 down the stretch. Now you need the Raptors to win 9 or more games. Again, that's one team. And right now, the Raptors finished the month of February playing the Celtics, the Pacers, and the Bulls. I only see one win in that stretch. Then they got back-to-back games in Orlando. Maybe they win one of those games. Back-to-back against Washington. Maybe they win one of those games. But let's say they win both. Whatever. Utah, twice. One game at Utah. Oh, by the way, they're at Philadelphia. Can you guarantee they'll beat the Sixers? At Portland, at Phoenix, at Golden State. Looks like a lot of losses to me. Home against San Antonio. Maybe that's a win. And then another Washington game, another Brooklyn game, another Charlotte game. At 76ers again. I'm having trouble finding 10 wins here. This is so painful. This whole situation. The Charlotte Hornets, who do they play down the stretch of the season? Again, I'm trying to find teams that can win more games than you to improve your odds. Because being 6th worst is not good enough anymore. Say Charlotte plays at Sacramento and Golden State and Dallas. It's a bunch of losses. More Golden State, more Minnesota, more Cavs. Okay, Brooklyn squeezed in there. Who else can they maybe beat? Who can they beat on the schedule? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 6 wins the rest of the year for the Hornets. That ain't happening. What about the Pelicans? If they ever get healthy, they could maybe win some games down the stretch here. Again, you need somebody to win more games than you. That's the only way you're getting the pick. Being 6th worst is not enough. Because when you go through the lottery and you run the simulator, the odds of you getting that pick are not great right now. Let's see here. Who does the Pelicans play? How many wins are on the schedule? 1, 2. I'm struggling here, folks. 3, maybe 4, 5. I see 5 wins the rest of the year for the Pelicans. This is not going great for the Sixers. It's really not. George from Summers Point chimes in at 609-403-0973. Hey, Josh, totally agree with you about the Sixers. We have known for a while the 76ers are going nowhere, but now the national media are latching on to this and making Philadelphia basketball one of the laughingstocks of the league. Not that it's not deserving, but George from Summers Point goes on to say, I think the national media takes some delight in this particularly because the Eagles have done so well this year. Can we skip over the rest of the Sixers season and get to the Phillies season? That's from George Summers Point. Well, a couple things, George. I do think you're right. There is a little delight in Philadelphia's basketball team being such an abomination because you're right. There are people in the national media, they just don't like Philadelphia. Some people were very anti-Sixers process from the very beginning. You have people who don't like City of Philadelphia, don't like the fans, don't like whatever. And so for some of these people, yes, there is a bit of afternoon delight when it comes to the Sixers and their struggles. Can we skip Sixers season to get the Phillies season? Well, it's funny you mentioned that because coming up next, there was a comment made by someone who covers the Phillies on a daily basis. And what they said might be the key, George and Summers Point, as to why the Phillies could be better this year compared to last season. Josh Hennig hanging out with you in the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort Studios of Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN FM. Don't forget 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Back to the triple team to the corner for three. It's good. Corner three.
It's Sixers Bull tonight. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
With GMF financing, to qualify buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
It's President's Day all month long at Bennett Chevy. You know there's lots of President's Day sales, but none like Bennett Chevy, who beat them all. Right now, Bennett's selling new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee pricing and not a penny more. Plus, you keep all the rebates, saving you thousands. You'll save even more with available 0% financing. And right now, Bennett's paying a minimum $10,000 for any old trade towards any pre-owned in stock. That's a minimum 10 grand for the worst clunker. Imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. And Bennett's non-commissioned sales team is paid based on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So there's no pressure trying to sell you more. No back and forth negotiations. No waiting around for a manager. No, not at Bennett Chevy, because Bennett is really different and you're gonna love it. So get to Bennett Chevy's President's Day sale and save now. Together, let's drive. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Progressive knows when you own a boat, life on land is a tough sell.
Come on down to Land, where you can do things like clean your gutters, pay tolls, and even get the wrong thing you ordered. We got it all. Potholes, people talking at the movies, and don't forget about flat tires when it's raining. It's Land.
Life on a boat is way more relaxing. So customize your coverage with Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer. And relax, knowing you got the coverage you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, #1 rating based on 2022 boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
New Jersey's got a lot of winter wow. Wows to knock your ski socks off. Wows to warm your soul. And wows to blow your mind. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
Were you uninvited to game night? Do you play board games with the ferocious intensity of an iron-fisted oligarch? Have friends left game night asking, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Right now, during Mattress Firm's President's Day sale, save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic, plus get a $300 instant gift. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
This sandwich is not just spicy, it's flavorful. Hi, this is Matayo. And this is Elsa. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is that spicy kick. Because the spice comes in at just the right moment. Oh, no. A little thing I love is that cilantro lime sauce. It's a fun blend of zesty and bold. That's what really makes me happy. Are you going to eat all your fries?
Order a Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich and a Diet Dr. Pepper on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 21st, get fast, reliable 300 megabit Xfinity internet with unlimited data included and an unlimited mobile line for just $30 a month for 1 year. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless plan and auto-pay with stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity internet required. Reduce mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-213-5757. 800-213-5757.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group. Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to mattblattkianj.com for more details. That's mattblattkianj.com.
It's gotta be a
Matt Blatt Kia.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Before we get to the Phillies conversation, Josh Hennick hanging out with you in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. I do want to say really quick, I went back and rewatched some of Nick Nurse's pregame media availability. And I got to say, I do feel for the man because unlike Brett Brown, when Brett Brown joined the Sixers, he knew he was signing up for a rebuild. And he understood that, you know, what comes with a rebuild is a lot of questions, right? And a lot of unknowns about development and these players and stuff. Nick Nurse didn't sign up for a rebuild. Nick Nurse didn't sign up for a team that was being flushed down the toilet. He signed up to compete for a championship. He signed up to be a winning coach. And you may not like some of the decisions he makes. You may not like some of the things he says. You may not like his attitude, his mannerisms, and blah, blah, blah. But the man did not sign up for this trash. And I genuinely feel for him because we have all, and if you haven't, then you're privileged. Okay, if you don't fit the description, I'm going to tell you now, you're privileged, okay? We have all been in professional situations where we were led to believe intensely, aggressively, affirmatively that something was going to be different, that the work environment that we were going to walk into was not what we received. And in some of those cases, the first month of the job may seem great. The first month on the job, you may be like, this is great. Everything is everything I hope for and more. And then it's like a toxic relationship. It just goes downhill month to month to the point where you got to make a decision. Do I quit or not? I think Nick Nurse at the point where he doesn't know he wants to quit or not. Because the way he talks, he sounds like a man who's been defeated. The man who said the world and life sucked out of him. Because again, he was given lies, misinformation, something. There's no reason why this organization has to keep trotting him out there, take all the bullets for everybody. Everyone else in the organization gets to hide behind the scenes. Daryl Morey, Elton Brand, and all these other guys. We never hear from the doctors, right? It's always Nick Nurse having to get up there and take these stupid questions. See how he feels. I don't think they're stupid. I think they're very valid questions. These questions have to be asked. Look, people like Keith Pompey of the Philadelphia Inquirer, people like Paul Hudrick from Liberty Ballers, there's a lot of good people who cover this Sixers team. They're just trying to do their job, man. And Nick Nurse is like, I don't know what to tell you guys. They're not giving me the answers either. I think it's part of Nick Nurse. If you put True Serum into him, he would be like, these bleeps aren't telling me nothing. I feel for the man because as someone myself who has been hired under false pretenses, as someone who has worked jobs that I was told was going to be one way, and then very shortly thereafter, within a year, I found I was completely different. We've all been there, and if you haven't, you're a privileged individual. We have all had jobs where things did not go as planned or as we expected or anticipated or as hoped or been promised. I see Nick Nurse in that same vein, and I just want to go up to him and tell him, Nick, I'm feeling for you, man. I feel your pain, man, because I see it in his eyes. I hear it in his voice. The guy looks hopeless. What's not hopeless is the Philadelphia Phillies, and I wanted to get this before we got out of here because George Summerspoint brought up the Phillies a moment ago. Todd Zolecki, you've heard him on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN. He is one of the three hosts of the Phillies Show podcast. He's been covering the Phillies for MLB.com for a very long time. He made a very astute point about what makes this Phillies team different. And I want you to listen to his explanation because I think that his explanation combined with the analogy that he makes, the team that he compares the Phillies to, says a lot about this organization heading into the 2025 baseball season.
They have a lot of guys in this team that are willing to do what it takes. You know, like obviously Sosa's a utility guy, but he's going to go learn a new position. We've talked about JT possibly shagging some balls in left field. Saw Schwarber out in the half field again today, working out at first base. You know, Harper going to move up in the lineup. Schwarber might move down.
Yeah, sure.
Turner might hit leadoff.
And
you know,
a
it's
lot
like
of these guys don't care. They just want to go out there and do their
right.
jobs.
I mean, you see what's going on up in Boston with Rafael Devers saying he's not going to move off at third base right now. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen there, but it's quite a contrast, I think, about what's happening here in Clearwater.
It's an amazingly astute point by Todd Zolecki. These guys, they're just going to do whatever it takes to win. This is not a team full of egomaniacs. This is not a team with a bunch of guys who are all about me. What can I get out of this? This is a group of guys who genuinely seem to understand that, hey, Kyle Schwarber, I need you not to hit leadoff anymore. Okay, coach, go practice at first base. Okay, coach. Edmundo Sosa, go practice center field. All right. JC Realmuto, go practice left field. Yep, got it. Hey, Buddy Kennedy, if you're going to make this team, you got to play every position on the diamond. Yep, got it, coach. This team is bought in, and it's the reason why the Eagles just won a championship. It is the idea of we instead of me. It is the you can only be great because of the greatness of others. It is the one for all for one mentality. And the reality is that is what championship teams are made of. It's the individual finally putting aside his ego to be a part. To be a part of a bigger and greater environment. I love to hear that. I love hearing that this Phillies team is saying, we don't care if we have to sacrifice a little bit for each other. I don't think that Kyle Schwarber necessarily wants to hit anywhere but leadoff because he spent most of his life hitting leadoff in the major leagues. And I don't think he wants to play first base, but he's going to do it anyway because it might mean a championship. And for this organization, that is going to be the key. It's going to be guys doing what is necessary to help the collective win. It's the idea that you're going to need to give Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, maybe a couple extra days off, maybe a couple extra days than you might like to. Maybe it's telling Nick Castellanos you can't play 162 again. You need a day off, man, because you're on a 20-game slump. I got some real hope for the Phillies team this year. Now, I say that on February 24th, and I know it's a very, very long baseball season. But I'm very well aware that it's going to be a lot more fun, a lot more interesting to watch the Phillies this year than any of the trash we've seen the 76ers the last few months. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. I am off tomorrow. I'll be back on Wednesday.
It's Flyers Penguin tomorrow.
And for the YouTube audience watching on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig, this is the post show. And I wanted to get to a sports topic that I don't think a lot of people on the radio side will be as open to. But here on my YouTube channel, we're not afraid to talk about subjects and issues that are a little different. Okay? So here we go. So I read an article today for 973ESPN.com. If you have the 973 ESPN mobile app, it'll be that alert will be coming out in about 10 minutes from now with the article. And the article has to do with a local sports story that is, shall I call it, eye-opening. And for those who don't know, I covered high school sports for many years here in South Jersey. I was calling high school football games from 2010 to 2015. And then I was the host and then co-producer, co-host of a show called Friday Night Live for a few years here on 97.3 ESPN. We got to do whip around high school football. I've done coverage of high school basketball for years. So I have a very, I have an extensive history when it comes to the local high school scene. And there are days I genuinely do miss being involved in the high school sports coverage because I feel like there's a lot of stories and there's a lot of stuff that goes on at that level that does not receive legitimate coverage. But I got to kind of dig into a little bit more of something that is important to me, which is truth. And so for those who don't know the whole story, there's a headline being circulated around that former high school football star arrested, arraigned in court. You know, and it generates a salacious reaction, right? So here's what I found out. I did a little digging and wrote my own story about it. So long story short, because I don't want to bore you guys with all the details, you can read the full article. You know, we're all adults here, okay? You know, we all know what happens. Half of you copy and paste these articles into one of those reading programs. You got the Google Chrome, you hit the play button with you, just read the whole article for you. I get it, okay? None of us are really reading articles anymore. At least half of us aren't. I still try to. But so there was back in 2012 when Cedar Creek High School went to their first South Jersey championship final of the football team. They were led by a player named Damon Mitchell. His nickname was Doo-Wop, and he was, for lack of a better way of putting it, an athletic phenom. He was a phenomenal athlete who ended up getting a Division I scholarship to an SEC school, something that doesn't happen a lot in South Jersey. Now, in the years since Doo-Wop, Damon Mitchell got that scholarship, there's been a lot more South Jersey athletes who have gotten that kind of attention. But up until him, it was far few and in between, right? There wasn't a lot of guys in South Jersey getting that recognition. So it was a huge deal when he got that offer from Arkansas. And there were a few other players in the years after him who got big-time scholarship offers as well. And so when he led Cedar Creek to that South Jersey championship final versus West Deptford, it was a huge deal in this area. It was like, wow, this is a guy who led this school that's built a football program for 2.5 years or 3 years at a time, and now he's going to Arkansas, right? And he had a brother named Amir Mitchell. And Amir Mitchell was supposed to be like the next guy after him. And Amir Mitchell got a big-time scholarship as well. Well, Amir Mitchell had some issues off the field. And he got basically suspended by Michigan, where he got the D1 scholarship to. He left Michigan and transferred back to New Jersey to go to Rutgers. Doo-Wop Mitchell, after 3 years at Arkansas, left a football program that might have put him in a position to maybe be like a third-day NFL draft pick, right? Or maybe an undrafted free agent. And he said, I am going to leave Arkansas, and I'm going to come back to New Jersey because I am going to try to help my brother Amir. And Amir was even a bigger time prospect than Doo-Wop Mitchell was. So Amir goes to Rutgers, tears his ACL. Unfortunate set of circumstances. And you're like, all right, well, maybe he'll rehab, he'll recover, and his brother Damon Mitchell is there, and everything's going to be fine. And it wasn't. Amir ends up violating team rules and gets kicked out of Rutgers. Football career is over. He has now basically been, not literally blacklisted, but basically it's like, the idea of fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me kind of thing. It's the idea that, hey, you do it once, okay, maybe you said a good relationship with the coach at Michigan. Twice it happens, maybe you're the problem, right? David Mitchell now, he foregoed his scholarship at Arkansas. He comes back to New Jersey. His brother basically fails out of the program, gets kicked off the team. Mitchell stays, gets his bachelor's degree, stays around, gets his master's degree, tries to make something out of his life at this point, right? Ends up moving back to Arkansas, right? The whole football thing didn't work out the way he planned. Back in Arkansas, tries to get involved in other business ventures, right? He tries to get involved in like the personal training, health and fitness industry. Doesn't really go as planned. Becomes a truck driver. He's got a family, 3 kids, dutiful father. All the T's, all the I's dotted. Nothing wrong with the guy in his entire life. Never had a legal problem. Has nothing on his legal record at any level. New Jersey, Arkansas, anywhere. Comes back to New Jersey earlier this month for a Cedar Creek Wall of Fame ceremony. He is considered one of the greatest high school athletes in Cedar Creek high school history. And so he comes back for this ceremony. And he gets... And the reporting, by the way, I'm just putting it out there, is a little sketchy. So I'm only going to verbalize what I know. I am not going to speculate. What we know is that there was a report made about Mitchell that claimed that he might be a danger to himself and others. Okay? So when the police find him, okay, when the police catch up to him, they discover that he has on him in his vehicle 2 pistols, 2 rifles, and a large capacity of magazines. The police inform Mitchell that he has been, quote, labeled a temporary extreme risk because his father claims that his son was, quote, exhibiting extreme and erratic behavior. So now, this former high school star quarterback, who at one point in time was considered one of the best athletes in South Jersey, basically, who has never had a legal problem in his entire life, unlike his brother who got in trouble numerous times, comes back to Jersey, and all of a sudden, he's exhibiting extreme and erratic behavior, and he's considered a temporary extreme risk. Do a little digging. Come to find out that today, Monday, February 24th, Damon Mitchell was released from the county jail by the Atlantic County Superior Court during his detention hearing. The conditions of his release was that before he returns to court on April 9th, in person, by the way, there are weekly check-ins with the court, along with maintaining, quote, lawful contact, unquote, with any family members. During the hearing, it was revealed by his lawyer, Mitchell's lawyer, that his client is a truck driver, and under Arkansas law, he legally owns the weapons that were found on him during the police traffic stop on February 15th. Come to find out that part of his job as this truck driver requires him to have firearms. Now, the judge, when hearing this explanation, had decided that after 10 days to release Mitchell from the holding detention and to let him out on his own reconnaissance because he does have no legal issue history. Again, it was Damon Mitchell's brother, not Amir Mitchell, who got kicked out of Rutgers, got suspended by Michigan, had all kinds of weird stuff going on off the field. It was his brother, not him. And now we're finding out that his father may have lied to the police. There's a whole other litany of legal issues going on with that. And the irony is he's being told he's only allowed to have lawful contact with any of his family members. But yet this man, who is now 30 years old, only came back to New Jersey to take care of his brother, and his brother couldn't keep his head straight. And now this young man, who obviously left New Jersey for reasons we're finding out, is now in legal trouble and online is being painted as a thug because his father claims he is exhibiting extreme and erratic behavior. Again, their quote, not mine. I'm reading it verbatim. This is reporting. This is not speculative. This man's life is being derailed potentially because of how people are painting him online. And I just ask everyone, one, stop reading headlines and think you know the whole story. You know, there's an individual on a couple of individuals on YouTube that they like to read headlines and bylines and one or two paragraphs of articles and then tell you what they think about it. And I hate it because it goes to show how some people are more interested in narratives than they are in the truth. I sat here and spent my day digging into this story to write an article. And come to find out that the way the article is being portrayed on social media was not the truth. Shocking, right? You read something online that might not be true. It's like the whole Eagles story. Did you all see this? So there was reporting for about 2 weeks that the Eagles, they didn't want to go to the White House in 2018, and now they might not want to go this time they're invited. Suggesting that the Eagles hate Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, because they didn't go 7 years ago when we were in the White House last time. Well, the story comes out today by pretty much every reputable NFL reporter that speculative story that had been circulating around for the last several days was factually and definitively not true. Shocking. Something that was on the internet was not true. And we deal with this all the time. And I don't understand why people are so easily led sometimes. And I hope some of you who are watching me on my YouTube channel right now, at Josh Hennig, like, subscribe, share with your friends. I hope some of you can hear when I tell you these two stories, the Eagles story, which is much more simple, but the Doo-Wop Mitchell story, which is much more complicated, and realize we all, you, me, all of us, have to be much more careful and much more conscientious about what is being put out there about people. Because guess what? When I first saw this headline earlier today, you know what my reaction was? The wrong reaction. Here we go. One of the Mitchell boys in trouble. I was wrong. My first reaction was wrong because as I dug into this story and as I dug deep into the actual guts of the story, I realized the headline was salacious and misleading, and social media is putting out a narrative that was running this man's name through the mud. And I call him a man because he's 30 years old. I remember calling this guy's games. What would that be? 13, 14 years ago now. And I'm going through his history from high school to college to now. This man doesn't have a single legal issue in his entire background. He had no off-the-field problems. From everything we understand, he's a dutiful father. He works his tail off, and he tried to start a business, and it failed. And now he's a truck driver. And he comes back to New Jersey, and his life's being run through the mud. All because people just care more about clicks than they do about the truth. And the same thing with the Eagles. People trying to paint this whole narrative. Eagles hate Trump. See? That football team. They're a bunch of anti-Trumpers. They hate America. Come to find out the whole story wasn't true. It's been confirmed by multiple reputable reporters. So where are all the people who called the Eagles anti-American and anti-President Trump and blah, 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 blah? What's going to happen to those people? Nothing. Because the problem is we live in a society where people are allowed to say and do whatever they want with no repercussions. If you tell the truth, it's a coin flip if people care what you have to say. But if you tell a half-truth and cultivate a certain way, you might go viral. You might be famous, internet famous. Not because you actually know anything, but because you're salacious and you're a turd. That's the world we live in now. Thank you for taking my tech talk. No, but seriously, thanks to any of you who watched to the end. At Josh Hennig on my YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Let's try to promote the good people. If you think the content that I do on this show, on 97.3 ESPN, on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig, if you think I'm doing a good job, I just ask you to share with some people. Hit the like button, send to a couple people, let people know. Hey, if you want real sports talk, if you want the truth, you don't want salacious, you don't want hot takes, this is where you come. I mean, I literally lost half my day researching this article. Not because I'm trying to impress anybody, but because it's the right thing to do. I started as a newspaper writer as an 18 turning 19-year-old. And the pursuit of the truth is something that's important to me. And I think that if we stop feeding into the machine of lies and BS, you can slowly you can slowly emaciate that machine. You know, if we stop buying the bad products, stop buying the bad people, over time they're going to lose money, they're going to lose clicks, they're going to lose attention, and they'll fade away like everybody else. But it's on all of us. We got to support the local small businesses. We got to support the people who are standing for the truth. We got to support the people who are doing the right thing. And that stands for all of us, not just me, but all of us. All right, I got work to do. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Thank you all for watching. I will be doing a non-sports show tomorrow, and then we'll be back with a sports show on Wednesday right here on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll catch you next time. 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 free mobile app, and of course, right here on my YouTube channel. Take care, everyone.